Hello, Juliette.
Hello. How are you?
Hi. Hi. Hello. Hello. It looks really sunny and lovely where you are.
It is. It's lovely and sunny. Yeah, I've just had a lovely massage, which was very beautiful, and just been sat in the garden, so really good.
Fantastic. Was that from the wonderful Giles or someone else?
No, from someone else. I actually booked it. We were at a men's health event on the weekend, which was amazing, and there was an incredible massage therapist there. So I booked a massage, and yesterday I had a call with you, and then I got off the call, and I'd done something to my back, and I couldn't
Oh,
walk.
oh,
um, so it was really handy that I'd already booked her for today, and my back feels amazing now. So
brilliant. Excellent.
so important that we look after this physical body, with touch
Yeah,
and lots of things.
that's very true. It's kind of our only weakness, as I say. It's the only weakness. Yeah. No, it's true. I'm actually feeling really good at the moment. I've joined a gym. Da,
Nice.
da, da, da. And part of my sort of convalescence. I'm not sure if
Hmm.
that's the right word, but my recovery. And I go like almost every day.
Brilliant.
Jacuzzis, saunas, heat
Yeah.
rooms, swimming, a few weights, but it's
Yeah.
not really my thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, feel much better when you're physically better than you feel.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think, at the moment we're being bombarded by so many things. There is such an input of pressure on us from so many different aspects. And if we don't really look after this physical body, like by nurturing it with touch, by energetics, by food, by all of these different aspects, then it's not going to be able to support us through this. What I feel is happening is there's this massive, positive and negative change happening. And, these bodies have to come up to the level of battle is the wrong word, but that's the word that kind of comes to mind. We have to almost like switch our DNA, switch our cells up to their highest frequency. And this is what I've been working with a lot. How do we upgrade our physical body to be able to cope with the geomagnetic storms, with the electromagnetic frequencies, with the toxins, the chemtrails, with all of this different stuff? How do we get our bodies into that optimum space?
Yeah. It's super important because it is like it's a challenge.
Mm,
It's a test, isn't it?
yeah.
It's a test to see if we're actually capable of this onslaught of toxins and chemicals and frequency.
Yeah.
I did a talk a couple of years ago called Frequency Wars,
Yeah.
and it was all about frequencies and the frequencies in food.
Mm,
What are we eating? Um, I mean, I think I spoke to you yesterday or the day before about the food in the gardens, but nothing's growing because there's so many heavy metals, and all those heavy metals are going in. So we've got to be very light and gentle on our bodies and put in things that are basically medicine.
totally. I think
It's
that's
all medicine.
it is, and that's we've been eating as a society as a pleasurable thing, and it's been about filling our bellies and satiating our taste buds and being in this kind of really indulgent space with food and not going, hang on, food is our medicine. And obviously Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And then he went on to say, let all approaches to health first be dietetic. This is what doctors are all meant to be trained on. This is what Western medicine was built on. Let all treatment first be dietetic, meaning first come through what you're putting into your body.
Yeah.
But then, you look at what's happening to the earth and what's actually in the foods that we're eating, even if we're not eating this like processed stuff that most people are. What's actually happening to the soil? And the soil, this has been a like really big thing for me, this soil health. And I'm a trustee of a charity called the Vegan Organic Network, and working with them has really opened my eyes to what's going on even more with the soil. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because the soil actually, if the soil is contaminated, it comes out in the food.
Yeah.
Because one of the jobs of plants is to clean the soil.
Yeah.
That's what they
Yeah.
do. And if they're continually being polluted, then the plants take out the soil. I mean, I don't know whether you know this, but I went to see the Shumi guys, the Japanese natural growers,
Mm,
and the chap there was saying that if you have a crop that's full of aphids,
mm,
sometimes it's because the soil is contaminated, and the plants, they kind of
Yeah.
they symbiotically actually produce the toxins out of the plants, and the aphids come along and they actually clean the plants and then clean the soil. And that really fascinated me, the fact that there's that whole, sort of,
Ecosystem.
yeah, yeah,
And yet in the West, what we do is we go, oh no, we're being invaded by aphids, let's get rid of them.
that's it,
When we
that's
were
it.
in India, we went to a beautiful spice farm called Tanchika, and we spent a lot of time there, organic spice farm, permaculture growing. So lots of different layers of produce being grown. And there were all these ants on the cacao tree because they had cacao growing there. And I said, what are the ants doing? And he said, the ants are eating the fungus, which destroys the flowers. And he said, the problem is most growers don't know that. So they try to get rid of the ants. And then they have to get another spray to get rid of the fungus that's on the flowers. He said, and then there's another thing, and then there's another thing. So it becomes this perpetual cycle of trying to get rid of things when actually nature knows how to do it. If we just step back and leave it, nature can do it itself. Nature's so incredible. We're the
Yeah,
ones who kind of get in the way of that.
yeah, yeah. I found that when I was in hospital, one of the questions they ask you all the time is, do you feel sick?
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, yeah, I feel sick, but there's a reason why I feel sick. So I'm not going to put anything in my body because I feel sick. And they give people things to alleviate their nausea.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the nausea is telling you that
Yeah.
there's something going
Yeah.
on. So don't repress it, let it come out, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's I think within some of the more conscious communities, they're really getting down to really intimate sort of relationships with their food and their water. I know that David Edelman, the people's lawyer, he said to me a couple of years ago, he said, when I go to people's houses, if they haven't got distilled water, I just won't drink. Now, I'm not saying that people need to have distilled water, but it's the consciousness of not just turning the tap on and just expecting that water to be perfect.
Yeah.
So people are addressing what they're actually putting in their bodies just on a
Yeah.
fundamental level.
Totally. I do hair testing with people, so I test minerals and heavy metals. And it's very interesting because over the years, the heavy metal load is just increasing and increasing, increasing in people. When you look at what that heavy metal is doing, when you look at copper toxicity or when you look at arsenic toxicity, all these things, cadmium, uranium, all these things are coming up a lot. And it's like, what do they do? Like, what are the symptoms? And then you look at what those symptoms are: mental health problems, anxiety, overwhelm, all of these things are on a basic level,
Mm.
obviously up and up and up. You think, well, that's what most people are going through. And yet their response to that is to go to the doctor and get put on antidepressants or to get put on these things. And, a lot of people coming to me at the moment, there's the two main things I'm dealing with people are mental health and cancer. That's what I've been, there's so much of it that I'm working with at the moment. And for me, when I have all these people I'm seeing and I'm working with, the more it pushes me into really having to connect with the earth and really go deep into that space of listening. Because what I'm realizing is that the answers that we had 5 years ago, the answers we had 10 years ago, are not the answers for now. Some of them are obviously the same. That there are links that are still the same in some of the plants, but I'm feeling a whole new level of response to things, not just because of COVID and all of the stuff that's gone on with that and how that's changing people's body, but because of the level of input from the electromagnetic stuff, from the 5G, from all of these things. What was working isn't. So it's like, well, how do we help people? How do we work so that we can be this strongest version? How can we take everything to that next level?
Yeah. You glitched there a little bit. I was going to ask you, do you have like a routine or a set protocol for kind of cleansing? I mean, is there do you some of your clients, do they come along and say, look, I really feel like I'm full of toxins. What do you suggest? I mean, does it start with a fast? Does it how what kind of process? What does that look like?
So it kind of varies from person to person. I really believe in the individual approach, because we're all slightly different. We're all ultimately the same, but we're different in small nuances, and also what people can cope with, where they're at. If you say to someone, do a 4-day water fast, and they've never fasted before, that's going to be really hard for them. So everyone's
Yeah.
kind of on a different thing, but I think fasting on some level is so important. Whether it's the, you start with intermittent fasting and you do 12 hours, and then you do 14 hours, then you do 16, then you move on to a juice fast, and then you move on to a water fast, whatever suits your body. I've personally haven't done any dry fasting. I know people who have. I really like water fasting and juice fasting, and do intermittent fasting on a regular basis, because that, giving that body a rest, is so important. And we've been programmed to fill ourselves so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just keep eating, keep
Yeah.
shoveling it down and
Yeah.
suppressing everything that's going on in your body.
Yeah.
But then looking at, for me, a big part of it is this heavy metal and the parasite side of things, and cleansing our body of heavy metals and parasites. And I've done a lot of work on myself with that over the years, and also with my one of my children who was really unwell mentally. So part of the whole process of getting him back on track with what they suspect is him being on the spectrum, etc., etc., has been heavy metal detoxification. Because when he was really unwell, I did a hair test, and his levels of arsenic and his levels of other heavy metals were really high.
Yeah.
You think, well, how's he got that? He has an almost organic, completely organic diet. He has a good filter on the water. He eats really well. He's never been vaccinated. He's never taken any medication. Like,
Yeah.
how has he got heavy metals in his system? And then you go, okay, so it's not our environment, it's that external environment of
Yeah.
what is being put onto us.
Yeah.
And if you think that, then you think, well, we all need to be doing this on a regular basis as a way of life. We aid our body's detoxification process.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just feel, I mean, I eat organically and I have distilled water. And some days, I'll go out and it's raining and I'm like, oh, it's like, what is actually, what's raining on me? I
Yeah.
mean, it is happening. And, the fact that nothing's growing, that is worrying, because it must be heavy metal poisoning. It must be what's being sprayed on us. There's no other way of looking
I
at it,
I
really.
mean, I feel very blessed. We grow quite a lot here, obviously just small scale for us.
Yeah,
But where we are, we're not near a city. Things are growing well. The only problem we've had is slugs, because it's
yeah,
been so wet, and then you look at all the geoengineering for the weather, and you think, well, a big part of this problem is that they are controlling the weather. So the wetness is not, these things are being designed on purpose
yeah,
to suppress our growing, to do all of these things. So it's like, okay, so if potentially we're going to have food shortages, if potentially we're going to have, obviously 5G is in a lot of areas. I went to Norwich to hear Philip Day, who's a health researcher, speaking a few weeks ago, and I got such a headache because they've got 5G there. And I thought,
yeah,
I have to find a way to prepare my body for this. It's like I've prepared my body for so many things over the years. I've dealt with so many different issues. As a child, I had antibiotics every few months because I had bronchitis constantly, pneumonia. I was quite an unwell child, and I've cured
yeah,
that. I had severe endometriosis and wasn't meant to be able to get pregnant. I've had 3 kids and no endometriosis. I've gone through health challenges, and I've overcome it through energy work, through nutrition, through herbs, through connecting with the earth. So it's like, okay, so this is our next challenge. How do we prepare for this shifting?
yeah,
And I think this is the work we have to do. And I think the fasting is a big part of that, because if you get your body used to not just shoveling in food, if there are food shortages and then we are on a more restricted diet, your body's going to utilize the stuff that you are eating. And if you are obviously then eating the most amazing stuff ever, like the stuff we can forage, and a big part of my mission, like on a larger scale, is to eventually get money to buy land to grow as many medicinal plants as I can, so that I have, and I'm doing that on my garden. It's like constantly buying more plants so I can grow medicinal plants, so I've got medicines to hand. So it's like, okay, so they're going to cut out ashwagandha. That's the next one they're talking about, limiting our
yeah,
access to. I'll just grow it, no
yeah,
problem. Let's just weave round. And I think that's what we have to learn to do more, is we're going to dance. It's this beautiful fluid dance of like, you want to do that, great, we're going to go this way. And we just keep doing this until we're so strong and so fluid that it's just, it all just flows with us, off us. It's like rain just pouring off us.
Yeah, yeah. It's really important that we take back the power and not just rely on other people to produce stuff for us.
Yeah.
The localism. I know. There are projects in places like Hebden Bridge, Todmorden, and down in Totnes and in Bristol a little bit, where people are just encouraging people to transform their gardens into food forests. I mean, I changed my garden, and
Yeah.
I haven't got much out of it, but I know that I'm going to get a shed load of spuds and a shed load of onions coming.
That's the thing. It's
And
amazing,
actually,
isn't it?
yeah, and actually, it's really interesting because I've been going out and just eating the flowers on my
Mm,
coriander, on my rocket,
yeah.
and eating my rocket, and just eating it, just going in and just literally just eating it from the greenhouse.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm not taking it in and preparing it. I'm just literally going out there and picking it. But I think that we do eat too much in this country, or in the West, maybe
Mm,
even in the world, we probably do eat too much. I think we can probably charge more with the sun. I think the sun gives us way more nutrition. Or I don't know whether there's this book. I mention this book quite a lot. Have you seen this book, Juliet? Spirit, Earth, and
no.
Human Evolution.
No, that looks amazing.
It's incredible. It's Dr. Rubraj Sharma, and there's a chap. He wrote this about 12 years ago. There's a chapter in here on light. It's
Mm,
just 2 pages, and he says there's a chemical in our body which is called ATV, and it's adenosine diphosphate, adenosine triphosphate, and it's the human equivalent of chlorophyll.
yeah.
And so the sun that hits you, it actually these chemicals actually change it into nutrients.
Mm, mm,
And he says it in this book.
mm,
And when I found that out, I was like, that just totally makes sense.
yeah.
And you see all these pictures of all these people in the 70s all walking around looking amazing. And they're all out in the sun. They're
Totally.
all, and
Yeah.
all the animals, you see all the animals out in the sun, don't you? You see the cats, they move around with the sun, they stay out of the shade, they're always in the sun. The dogs are in the sun, and that energy from the sun is really important. Obviously, it's a bit tricky when they keep spraying
So that
plant
we're not getting the sun. Exactly. That
part of
that
the
is a
plan, right?
big, yeah, that exactly it. Because
Yeah.
also when you don't have the sun, it suppresses your mood, but also we get light codes from the but when we see activations energetically as well as physically. So, there is a whole layer of deeper wisdom that's come through the sunlight, important for our being.
You've completely gone, Juliet.
Am I still? Oh, am I back?
You're
Am I
back in
back?
the room.
Oh, amazing. I was just talking about the light code. So we not only do we receive this energy physically from the sun, but we're receiving these spiritual activations from the sunlight, which are activating our consciousness. So having that exposure, and also, like for me, I see the sun and I want to strip off and get naked so that my whole body can receive that sun.
Yeah.
But this is also what we've been programmed not to do, because it's like, oh, you can't do that because you can't get your body in the sun, you can't show your body, all of these different preconceived ideas that are put on us to suppress us and to suppress this expansion that is happening now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Whenever I come out, I get up really early in the morning, but when I go to my vehicle, because I go to the gym quite early, the gym's like 5 minutes away. But when I walk along my pavement outside my house, if the sun's out, I'll stand at the end of my road. I'll close my eyes, not for very long, maybe 2, 3 minutes, just do a little tiny bit of sun gazing, and then I'll get in my car. And
Mm,
it's every day I just do that, and it's such a simple little thing. And
yeah,
it's a bit like dance like nobody's watching you. I just
yeah,
stand there and look at the sun, and
yeah.
if anybody sees me, I just don't care,
No,
But it is that just that moment being in the sun, and actually it's really profound. You go quite deep quite quickly
so
when you
do, yeah.
when you look at the sun and you've got your eyes closed. When I always turn away like that and then I open my eyes and I'm really come out. It's
Mm,
really powerful. And I know I stayed in Glastonbury I think it was last year or the year before, in this cabin, and I saw the most incredible sunrise I've ever seen, over Wells, and it was so powerful. It was a red sun with like a black corona. It was
Mm.
extraordinary, and the amount of the energy that I got from just being in that for like half an hour in the morning was just remarkable. It was really, really powerful. So, yeah,
I had I
we
had
know
quite a
these things.
I
Really?
had quite a profound experience actually, for this solstice, over the solstice time this year. It wasn't just on the solstice itself, but we had a full moon, and obviously we had the
Yeah,
sun at its fullest. So we had the divine feminine, the moon, in its fullness, and we had the divine masculine, the sun, in its fullness
yeah,
together. And I ran a wild woman retreat at the same time, and I ran a cacao ceremony, and was doing quite a lot of things at that time, and we sang for peace. We painted hearts of every country, and we sang for peace over the solstice, which was really beautiful. But I was having these profound awakenings of this real strong feeling. And it's been a lot of the work I've been doing of really connecting in with the earth and really connecting in with the sun, connecting in with this divine feminine and divine masculine, and through the earth and through the cosmos, and bringing that into my heart is what I've really come to realize, is that there's a beautiful breathing exercise I've been doing every day, and it's really shifted. It's so often the most simple things can have the most profound effects, can't they? It's like, it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to be meditating for 3 hours and sat by yourself in a cave, and it's these really simple things. So this breath that I've been doing is, you breathe in from the center of the earth and you breathe up along your core. So you're breathing along your spine, and as you breathe along your spine, that energy of the earth, you're lighting up all of your chakras, and it's taking you all the way up into the cosmos. And then you breathe out and you imagine like these beautiful big wings coming down, this energy that's, because this is what our auric field is actually doing. It's these two big concentric circles, and then that energy goes all the way down from the cosmos into the center of the earth. And then you pull it up and you hold that energy in your heart, and you keep repeating this until your heart is really expanding. You've got this massive column in the center of your body of light that's just expanding, and it's that beautiful dance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It's this amazing merging, and ultimately it's like we are the creations of that divine feminine and masculine. If if you want to look at it that way, we are like the babies of that. And so when we can irradiate that out from our heart, then I've just found it's really
powerful.
charged me up.
That sounds fantastic. Well, the Holy Grail is that torus shape.
Mm,
That is actually that's a secret. The Holy Grail is, the shape of the Holy Grail is like that.
yeah.
That's what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Taurus
Yeah.
of the heart, and it's really interesting, isn't it? Because that's such a, there's all these stories about this Grail and this gauntlet type thing and this cup. Well, it's actually the secret of the heart, and what you're saying there is exactly what it is. It's the key to us generating our realities.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. That sounds a beautiful meditation.
I'm going to be doing it
Very
as
beautiful.
part of my thing at the Shine celebration, doing a proper, like, in proper, not me just describing it, but doing it in full blown thingy. And I've created this beautiful heart tincture, which I don't sell, but I use it in workshops and things. And it's hawthorn and apple, and it's so stunning, blossom. And it's
Yeah.
so stunning to really just open your heart, because that's what I've been realizing more and more. It's like we've been so shut down in our heart, and even when we open it a bit, it kind of shuts down, and it's the guardian, our heart's guardian, a lot of the time is locked shut for
Mm.
protection. And
Mm.
so a lot of the work I've been doing over these last kind of 6 months has been that gentle opening, like, of my own heart and those I'm working with. And it's such a beautiful thing, because when we can be in that space, it shifts so much.
Mm. It's really powerful. I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, I will be there for that, Julia, if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing kind of similar work. I've been doing love bombs, although Sarah doesn't like the word bomb.
No, Bob,
But it is about that generation of that torus field. It's
Yeah.
about rippling out putting the intention into the space, in the consciousness into the space of love, prosperity, abundance,
Yeah.
and then radiating it out.
Yeah.
And obviously, that meditation that you're doing is a super, super powerful way of charging your etheric field. So this is
Exactly.
where we need to be. I mean, this is, this is, we're down the line, aren't we? With, me meeting you and the Isle of Wight and stuff and doing the shine. And, I just feel that,
Mm,
we're embodying this work now, and we're getting to a stage where actually
yeah.
those people who are coming on that journey and doing that work they're, I don't like to use the word should, but should be in a position to be able to go, oh, Juliet's doing that, I totally understand what she's doing, I get the components, I'm going to sit down and do it, and now we're embodying these things. It's really, really powerful. It's really exciting, um to have these conversations. And yeah, I think you're on at 11:30 on the Sunday, aren't you? You might
Half
not
11,
know
and
that.
then at 2,
And then two in your workshop.
2 I'm doing the cacao lotus, and I see some medicinal mushrooms as well because I working with the mushrooms.
I love it. Juliette, you are breaking up a lot. I think we should stop this. I don't want to stop this interview, but you are breaking up a lot.
Oh,
I
yep.
absolutely love you with all my heart.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for being you. You are so
Yes, thank you.
held. You are so held. You're so loved.
Thank you.
Um, I'm gonna see you very soon, and keep up the amazing work you're doing. And give Giles a big hug. I think I'm seeing him soon, aren't I? So
You are in
yeah,
15 minutes or so.
yeah. Lots of love. Lots of
Amazing.
love.
Lots of love. Take care.
Cheers. Bye.